going to try this and see if we can do it. Somebody asked if I have watched the Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma, which is being truncated because of my S keys. Turn it off for a second. We don't need that on. Yes. Yes, I have. Actually, I really like it. So yes, it's good, but sad that the people who got us into this mess, are now making cash telling us about it. This really annoys me. All right. So I was watching it. So one guy in particular, and okay. So there's this one scene. First of all, nobody can ever deny that they didn't openly seek to manipulate human perception. The most damning evidence against Facebook ever produced is from the Facebook people internally hiring psychologists to purposefully overtake our minds to the point where we were 100% positively addicted to the whole thing. And then having the monetization expert say he won't allow his children on any of the systems that he created because they're so monstrously bad, and he realizes it now after he's made his millions. I mean, if there's one thing that is just like blatantly in your face wrong with capitalism, it's all of these millionaires telling us how they made millions of us and regretting it while making more money as we tell them that. It's like so many layers of hypocrisy that it just makes me just almost literally want to throw up. I'm just so disgusted by everything that's happened. And it's just, I don't know, it's whatever. I just really, I don't. There's different parts of the company that's not responsible for it, but to have the people that were primarily responsible for us getting into this mess go on the television and say, "Oh, we're really sorry. My children don't even use it. It's horrible." And then when they're asked point blank, "What do you think is the fix?" and they say nothing, and they joke about it being civil war. They joke about that being the end result. That's what happens when you have a bunch of money-hungry capitalists going to town looking for things without thought to any of the purposes about why they should be doing it. It's one thing to be a scientist and end up accidentally inventing a nuclear bomb. It's another thing to be a greedy asshole seeking to permanently indoctrinate you into the service so that you are a stream of cash and nothing more, and doing it with an open mind and actually seeking and hiring professionals to further doing it who are also willing to work for the money to do it. They don't even give a shit that they're being hired to control your attention. These are people who are, advanced degree PhD people in America who are also bloody grumping fucking capitalists who will turn their ethics aside and cause you to be personally and forever addicted to a service just because they're paying really well and they want to say they're working for Facebook or Google. The fact that the social dilemma has even happened and that they're still making money on it is just permanent evidence that there is no fix to capitalism right now. Right now, the way that capitalism is being operated, and I'm not against all parts of free market and capitalism, obviously, but the level of greed and apathy and Facebook being caught calling 12-year-olds with their parents' credit cards whales in email, that kind of shit does not go away without heads rolling. And I'm not curing violence or anything like that. But the social dilemma uncovers part of this. Another movie, if you want to see about this, that actually really talks about this, is something called Cambridge Analytica. Also watch Cambridge Analytica if you really want to understand it. And this is not some, there's a lot of people who are able to kind of like quantify and just compartmentalize their disagreements with all this kind of stuff, and they're like, oh no, that doesn't really happen, the world's flat. No, that's not really what's happening. So that, yes, you got my answer. I did it in 5 minutes. Yes, you should watch it, but you're gonna get mad. Most people with a soul will get really upset when they watch it, and then they'll realize they just paid to watch it. It's like, uh, so have you seen Cambridge Analytica? It's pretty bad. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I got to stop talking now because I want to stay positive for the rest of the night. The Great Hack. Yes, it's called The Great Hack. Yeah. The Great Hack. Yeah. I mean, if you really want to understand these things, if you want to keep your head in the sand and and yeah, it's Russian hackers. There says a Russian hacker. I'm so glad we have Russians on the stream. Thank you for being here, guys. Yeah, the fact that I'm just like slamming capitalism right now, and then I have Russian hackers on my stream, I'm definitely on a watch list somewhere. They don't know that I'm one of the most advocate proponents for positive change in America, and I would be so totally just especially in the 50s under the McCarthy era, I would be in like prison just for learning to speak Russian. Unless you're going to be a spy and person attacking. There's stuff wrong with Leninism. There's stuff which is the communism that you're familiar with. There's that's another whole thing. But the social dilemma is honestly, the social dilemma is a absolute quintessential perfect example of capitalism at its worst, at its absolute worst. Unchecked greed at every level. Seriously educated people who are all of them just decided there was no problem with this. And the only reason they made that decision was cash. That's the only reason. And now they all regret it. After they made all their money, they're sitting in these nice fancy houses and these beautiful kitchens saying, oh yeah, we're done with that. So bad. We were so bad. Bad us. Oh my God. Yeah. Do you do Bitcoin or Dogecoin? What's your favorite? Oh yeah, we're never doing that again. I'm never going to be associated with that stuff. After they made their billions of dollars. It's like the porn stars that make tons of money, or the whores on the street who make tons of money selling their bodies and then turning around. I'm not shaming sex industry. I think that's important, but they'll turn around and make all this money and they're like, it's not just a women's issue too. It's like people selling their souls to make the money. It's like Tony Stark fictionally, it's like he makes billions and billions off the backs of all these dead people, and he has to spend the rest of his life like doing. But he couldn't even be a philanthropist if he hadn't made the money in the first place. So all of these hypocritical assholes get up there and make money and say to everybody, oh, we're so bad. Yeah, oh yeah, it's so bad. I have children now, and there's no way I would ever let them see that or do that. Look, we should let people change. I know we should let people grow and stuff like that, but we should also maybe put some problem, but nobody will because there's no money there. There's no political capital. There's no money in attacking these systems. And then finally, it's funny. The really crazy thing is I actually am in total agreement with some pretty radical right-wing people at the same time too, because I believe that this stuff, when it's completely and totally unchecked, is a horrible thing. We don't have free press. We don't have free dialogue because we're being totally controlled. And people will say the root of the problem is money. Well, guess what the root of capitalism is? The root of capitalism, unchecked Western capitalism, is money. And you can pretend that that's communist thinking and that the way I'm talking is totally bad and that this is anti-American. You can fill yourself with all of those things that, by the way, they have gone to great lengths to market, to put into your head. The people who want you to believe that saying the word capitalism in a negative light automatically makes you some Russian attacking communist who's going to come take away your children. They've deliberately propagandized you to believe that. And I know it because I've been in Russia where they do the same thing in a different way. You've been completely lied to, and they've been totally controlled. And we're like, no, it's all good. It's trickle-down capitalism. It's all this stuff. And if you don't believe me, just go watch any of the current YouTube videos on this particular topic. So, yes, I've seen the social dilemma. It makes me very upset. The reason I'm upset now is because I had to watch it, and it just makes me sick that I did. I hate the worship of tech and all its solutions to problems. And I'm a technologist. I agree completely too. So if you have any other insights, anybody? Let's see. If they really think what they're doing is wrong, they should close shop, which they have not. No, they won't. Because the money's too good. People, the money's good. It is absolutely Mr. Robot. It's Elliot. It's Elliot and Mr. Robot. It's my favorite all-time television series. All time, Mr. Robot. And it deals with these issues. And it also deals with the issue that tearing the whole system down is not the fix. Tearing the whole entire system down because this capitalist system the way it is and just making it all burn to the ground is also not the fix. And I mean, I'm giving away stuff away in Mr. Robot, but it starts out being really awesome and they end up doing the hack and everything. Yeah, and then they hack the corporation. But you know what, what is the underlying thread in Mr. Robot? There's an insight in the Mr. Robot series where they give you a glimpse into what the true fix for this is. And it actually comes twice. So there's one time when the blonde, I forget her name, is sitting down with the guy and she says, "Why don't you come work internally for us where you can start to make change from the inside?" Now I'm going to give this away, but she ends up attempting that. She justifies it in her head. She gets all the money, and then she totally forgets why she's there. She gets totally spellbound by the money, and she completely forgets that she went there to go try to change the place. And she ends up dying because of it. Meanwhile, Elliot gets forced to go there. And so he's working inside, he's wearing his khakis, and he's doing his thing. And he learns while he's there that he can take people down one at a time while he's there. And he makes a statement during the series at that time. He goes, he realized that maybe the better solution here would have been to play into the system to get access to the system and then to reform the system from the inside. The difference is he didn't forget his role because he was angry and for lots of reasons, but he got into there and he took people down from inside of the organization, right? And he did it in ways that I think were probably too fast, but the message, I think the message is valid. And actually, if you want to reform a corporation, just going from the outside and throwing rocks at their huge military complex, the equivalent of a huge military complex, is not going to do it. But if you get inside, I'm not saying doing anything wrong, but if you get inside the system, you use that capital to turn it around and you stay true to your beliefs. That's the hardest part. So you start making a lot of money because you're inside of the capitalist system. You get poisoned by it and you don't want to do anything. You just want to keep it going. But if you can keep to your ethics and you get inside of there, you can argue for change from within the company, and because you're in the company, you have a stronger voice. So I'm gonna make a conclusion here about how to get around the social dilemma, and it's going to be very counterintuitive. Go work for Facebook. I'm not kidding. We need more, just like in politics. People throw rocks at politics and politics sucks, politicians suck, and never be a politician. There's another way to fight this system, and the way it is to become one of them. So we've seen this in this last election. It's go work at Facebook, go work for Google, go work for one of these horrible, horrible companies that I've told people I would never, ever work with. I can't do this. But when you go there, you take your ethics with you and you don't check them at the door. All right. And you figure out a way internally to try to change that system. If you can't stomach working for the equivalent of Nazi Germany, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's some pretty extreme comparisons we could make here, right? Because Schindler's List comes to mind, right? He kept all those people alive, but at what cost to his soul, right? He never gave in. Was it proper for him to have done that, to have, the affluence he did, and then yet he couldn't save more people? At some level, we have to figure out, can they never be changed? Do they just need to burn? Maybe. I don't know. But my mind has been open a little bit more to the possibility that corporations can change. That sounds very capitalist for me to say so, but I've seen it happen at Microsoft. I've seen what can happen at Microsoft, and that Microsoft is still a capitalist corporation, but they are not the same capitalist corporation they were in the 90s. They have changed. And they have changed because of the leadership and because of the people who are working there and because of the mass of people who have different values are now working at Microsoft. And you can hate them on them all you want, and that's fine. But they have an entire Linux division. You know what I mean? Because NSA, CIA use Facebook and Google. Hell, yeah, they totally do. Yeah, the CIA and NSA use Facebook and Google. They always have. They've been very open about that. So I'm not saying that that's one of the ones that you should use or anything, but they use everything. You just can't. That's a different issue. We're not going to talk about that. Escaping government surveillance is an entirely separate issue than this. Google is changing inside. They are. And but there are bigger issues at play here. Like Huawei is a sitting member of the Cloud Native Foundation, and the new Rust Foundation, places like that. So I don't know. There's geopolitical issues with all of that. But in terms of just saying I'm never going to do it, I don't believe fully on my part. I could be rationalization on my part, but I believe that if we give them money to do things that are positive, the only thing they understand is money. So if we can start to give and promote money to these organizations for things that are the right things, that they'll continue to change. We've seen this happen in the automotive industry. We've seen this happen in the food industry. I mean, the food offerings have radically changed for everybody in America because the money was in certain ways of eating that everybody wanted. And there's people who lie about it, but things change. Whole free range chicken thing, whatever. It's controversial too, but the point being that if you put in the capitalist society, the people with the money win, and if you vote with your dollars, so vote with your dollars. If you believe in GCP and you want to see it grow, and you would rather not have them spy on you all the time, maybe give them money for that. They're still going to do the other thing anyway. Which is sad. So I don't know. It's almost impossible to just chop yourself off from. If you live in America, you can't just say, I am not playing the capitalist system, period. You'll die. You can't have insurance. You can't eat. You have to play by the whole thing. So I'm sorry that that's the case. We still need some activism in it as well, too. So yeah, it's a really tough topic, using the social media. Yeah, I dropped Facebook completely. I haven't used Facebook for a long time. I've just added back Instagram, and it's kind of nice to see pictures of friends every once in a while, but I refuse to go back to Facebook under any circumstance. I know Instagram's owned by Facebook, but I just refuse. I know that they're snooping on every single thing that I put up there. And at some level, I'm okay with it now. I don't think I should be okay with it, but at what point do you just throw in the towel and go, they control everything? And it's like, I don't know. I don't have the answer. That's the closest I can get. Bye.